to In the Kitchen with Kia, and today I am preparing for dinner for my in-laws. I'm going to make salmon cakes. All right guys, first things first is we're gonna go over all of our ingredients that we need to make these delicious salmon cakes. I'm going to be using fresh salmon, not canned salmon. We're gonna use these Parmesan herb Panko breadcrumbs. Never used them before, but I'm like, that sounds good, right? Seasoning, we got our salt, our black pepper, onion powder, a little bit of the Old Bay. We're gonna be using 2 eggs, garlic, onion, red bell pepper, some mayo, Worcestershire sauce. I don't know if I ever pronounced that right. A little bit of olive oil and some butter. All right guys, so this recipe calls for some roasted garlic. So the first thing that we're gonna do is get our garlic roasted oven. So we're gonna oil, dousing it with some olive oil and some seasoning, and then throwing it in the oven at 400 degrees for about 40 minutes. We are going to use some of our olive oil and we're going to rub down our salmon fillets. We're going to season them lightly. Just kidding. Lightly? Who am I talking about? This is a black household. It's like, no, I'm just kidding. We're going to season our salmon and then we're going to bake it at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. All right. Going to take some of this onion powder, season a little bit of, what guys, I think I want to do like a little bit of like smoked paprika too. Hold on. Here we go. Some paprika. Gotta make sure we season the salmon nice and good. Throw it in the oven. All right, y'all. The salmon's ready to go in the oven. Go in the oven, 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 12 to 15 minutes. All right, you guys, so I have the salmon in the oven and the roasted garlic in the oven, and I'm getting ready to cut my onions and my bell pepper. I just washed my cutting board. So my husband and I love adding peppers to a lot of stuff that we eat, and we also like growing our own peppers. So I like to keep the seeds. I'm gonna grab a paper towel and save that for later. Hopefully I don't cry whilst cutting these potatoes. I can feel the tears coming now. Oh Lord. Okay guys, so while my salmon and my roasted garlic are still in the oven, I'm going to saute 1 red bell pepper and a half of an onion. I'm going to saute that in my cast iron with about a tablespoon of butter. Alright guys, so the salmon just came out of the oven. We're going to take the skin off, put it in this bowl, use 2 forks to shred it up. I'm currently sauteing the onions and the red peppers, and when they're done, we're going to put them to the side so that they can cool. And then we'll be ready to mix it all together, season it a little bit, and make our salmon cakes. All right, guys, so you see the salmon, nice and seasoned, but we're gonna add more seasoning, of course. Right now, I am just going to chop a lot of salmon, y'all, but oh, this is gonna be good. Ooh. Once our salmon is nice and shredded like this, we're gonna set it to the side to let it cool off a little bit. Peppers and my onions off of the stove, put it in here, set this to the side and let this cool off as well. And once both of these have cooled off, we are going to put the roasted garlic and the sauteed vegetables in the salmon. We're gonna season it up a little bit more, and then we're going to add the Panko crumbs. So we let the salmon and the roasted or the sauteed red peppers and onions sit and cool off for a little while. So now we're going to mix the sauteed vegetables in with the salmon. Mix those up a little bit. Get it in nice and good and mixed. And I have about 1.5 pounds of salmon. The red bell peppers adds a nice little bit of color. Now, I should use fresh parsley for this recipe, but I didn't get any at the store. I thought I had some and I don't. So I'm going to use dry parsley. I'm gonna add a little bit of that. Fresh parsley would have really brought out the flavor, but you know, you make do what you know with what you have. Mix that in here. Guys, so once we have the red bell peppers, these sauteed red bell peppers and sauteed onions and the dry parsley, if you have fresh parsley, that's preferable to the dried, but I didn't have any. Then we are going to add about a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Is that how you pronounce it? I think this is new, so I haven't opened it yet. Worcestershire, whatever. You know what it's called. We're gonna add about a teaspoon of that in here, or more if you want, but I'm gonna stick with a teaspoon. And yes, I measure it out. I don't do it by eye because I am still learning. And one day, I will be able to eyeball it when it comes to certain stuff. I do eyeball when it comes to seasoning. I will say that. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm feeling froggy today. I'm gonna eyeball it. I'm gonna add a little bit more of that. You know, go big or go home, right? Just going to season the salmon mixture a little bit more. So I have my onion powder. I'm gonna add a little bit more of that onion. Da, 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 da. You know what I say? If you can't see the seasoning, then it's not enough. So go on and add some more. Don't be afraid of it. Season with love and all that jazz. Ooh, I might be doing too much, right? And some Old Bay. You can use Creole or Cajun seasoning, but I'm a Maryland gal. And my seafood, we do the Old Bay. Not a lot though, you know what I'm saying? Little dollop, little something fine. We're gonna mix that all in. Then we're going to, guys, our roasted garlic looks so good. Look at that, look at that, look at that. We're gonna put some of our roasted garlic in here. Yes, roasted garlic. And I'm going to add about 3 tablespoons of mayo into my mixture. Fun fact, I don't like mayonnaise by itself, but when it's mixed with stuff, I like it. All right, so we've got the mayo in there. Now we're gonna mix that. Also you're gonna want 2 beaten eggs, and you're gonna wanna mix that into the mixture as well. And the mayo and the eggs are going to work as the binding for our salmon cakes. So it's going to make them stick together. Get all that egg in there. Look real nice and gooey. But it's gonna be good. All right, guys, so it's gonna look like that. I'm gonna add about a cup of breadcrumbs. And before I do that, I'm just going to douse this in a little bit of like fresh, I'm gonna put a little bit of fresh lemon juice in there. All right, and mix that in. It's just gonna make all the flavors kind of really come out and do their thing. I tasted my mixture before I put in like the eggs and the mayonnaise because I wanted to make sure that it was seasoned to my liking. I advise you do the same, you know, salmonella and all that mess. And then we're gonna use about a cup of Panko breadcrumbs. And you're gonna just dump that in. And you can just eyeball it because you might wanna add more. I might end up adding more to mine, but let me just get it all mixed in first. Let this mixture sit in the refrigerator for like 20 to 30 minutes, but since I am a little bit pressed for time, I'm gonna pop mine in the freezer for about 10 minutes and let this all just kind of like sit together and bond. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna pan fry up these wonderful salmon cakes, y'all. It's gonna be so good. All right, guys, so while my salmon mixture is in the freezer setting, I'm going to clean up a little bit. I'm going to put the dirty dishes in the dishwasher, and by the time I finish that, my mixture will be ready and I can go ahead and make my salmon cake. I just took my salmon cake mixture out of the freezer and it is nice and bonded and ready to be formed into the salmon cakes. I have washed my hands. Normally I have food prep gloves, but I don't have any. I'm just ill prepared. So I'm going to use my hands, but they are clean. Always make sure your hands are clean to form my salmon cake. Done with our salmon cakes. Look at how beautiful these salmon cakes look. Oh my gosh, guys, they are so delicious. Like, oh my gosh. Y'all gotta try the recipe and let me know what you think. See you guys next time on In the Kitchen with Kia. These are good. Bye.